All righty then. Give us a well now. Good morning, campers. So we're back on Earth. We've got Piglet barking in the background. The trimmers and cutters are here. And I guess it's quieter in outer space. The beach is nice too. So we're playing with the little tripod. It's on my lap. Very precarious, but yet comfortable position. So let's review. If you go back a couple of episodes, we did a great link I put in for you on the Ice Age farmer talking about GMO spores that could be sprayed on vegetables and foods so they can be tracked and identified from the location of where this stuff came from. Surveillance. They present it to say, oh, this is a good thing. We could find out where a disease was, E. coli or whatever, and know which vegetable, fruit, or product and the origin thereof. In that same episode, I had Russell Brand, who did a great discussion on that. I also had Elon Musk, a great discussion of plugging in microchips into your brain so it can communicate your thoughts to a computer. Have you been paying attention? And he says, and there's no wires. Oh, good. So there's no wires. What Russell Brand said, and he is absolutely right, is that these psychopaths lay out the stuff and come up with a reason how it appears to benefit you, but that may not be their real agenda. They don't mention the additional tracking surveillance techniques and effect that it could have on your activities and your now food consumption. And don't forget, I'm reaching into my pocket here to get out the lighter and the cigarettes because this is an important part of the show. Oh, wait. Oh, good. It's not YouTube because YouTube could ban that and say we're promoting cigarettes. Notice the very smooth adjustment of the tripod. So that's the whole deal. So he's got that discussion talking about the GMOs. They presented, oh, we can track down diseases as opposed to track you, what you eat, et cetera, et cetera. Then we have the monkey chip in your brain, which you haven't seen, you have to listen to, but primarily for the purpose of how they present this as a positive to you and us. But in reality, it's just hiding what their real agenda is. Kind of like Klaus Schwab, and he uses all of his lovely verbiage to discuss what is it? Resilience, inclusivity, sustainability, and owning nothing. Oh, so owning nothing. Sounds like he's proposing a debt-based currency system that owns nothing with digital currency that can be controlled, tracked, and turned off. Well, now. Maybe it's just me. What do you think? All right, let's spark this up. Got excellent, important material, and we're gonna throw in the first link for you. I'm gonna lead off with our frequency theories. I'm gonna say hi to Karen, who came up with a great idea, and she said, "Listen, a song. What if you have a song and it rattles the elites? And what if the plebes sing it?" So the first thing that came to my mind was that song, We Are the World. Remember that? That was a simple song with simple lyrics, got a lot of promo from Hollyweird and the music industry, which is a direct, shall we call it, a sprout from the same crew. Hang on. But that's the promotion. But with our new happy social media, a new song could go viral. But then on the other hand, if you did a song and you got them to promote it, dang, you could actually set up a cash flow and create a foundation to help the campers. Interesting thought. So this is the big debate. Now, but I like the thought, and I think the idea of a song that registers emotional, and I know we've been talking with Frequency, with Shannon in the architectural department. She actually developed a whole discussion of sound, extrapolating up 20 octaves, brings it to the light. So the light and the sound are sound and light. Sounds like an ancient Greek thing, doesn't it? The concept is, and I always thought of this back in college, I never pursued it, at least certainly nowhere near the extent that she did, and I admire that and I love that. How you could create music and have sound as chords, like harmony, or a chord frequencies, a 1, 3, and a 5 of a major scale create the triad, which is the major chord. So what if instead of changing the chords, you change the light to be the 4th or the 5th? Do you see what I'm saying? Fascinating concept. There's probably programs that do that, but it's not the same. On the other hand, you have the passion, the emotions, and the intensity of the music. And that's where you get into the blues, isn't it? Right? You bend a note and hold it. You can listen to Santana. He is transcended. He is squeezing the last bit of juice out of every note. That's not computer music. All right, so the first link is music. And this is the 432 hertz frequency versus the 440 hertz frequency. That is the frequency of the note A at 440, and it became a standard, kind of a mandated, that there were actually laws passed to mandate and create consistency and say, we need to have what is concert A, and we're going to tune to it. Well, the argument comes out that the 432 is really resonant with the 256, which is C, which is resonant to the 8, which is the resonance of Earth and the universe. Interesting. Now, the difference between 432 and 440 is 8 hertz. Can you even hear 8 hertz? That's the question. Can you feel it? The 8. Interesting number, 8. Curious how the spread is 8. But this is an excellent piece by Paul Davids, who is a music teacher and a YouTuber. He's got over 2 million subscribers and gets millions of views. And he does an excellent piece giving you the history on this. He did the research, and I had done this a few years ago. But he made a video. I didn't. And he also, as an excellent musician, plays 2, 3, 4 songs, classical pieces that you'll recognize on his guitar. One at the 440, the other at the 432. I'd like you to take a listen. Check it out. And then he even throws in a little, we'll call it modern music. You might recognize that Pink Floyd song on the acoustic guitar. I was about to sing it. Wish you were here. There you go. All right. But fascinating piece. Check it out. You tell me which one you like better. Personally, I, in an orchestra, played the cello and always enjoyed, and our conductor always tuned sharp, which means a little higher, which means we pushed it. If the A was a 440, she pushed it even more. And I like the 440. However, it seems to me the 432, when he plays it, feels weird. Yet after you're done with that, with one song, if he does another one, now you've become kind of accustomed to it, and you're connecting to it, you're vibrating to it. And I think that's really what it's all about. And if you listen to Jimmy Page and his weird rhythm and tones, when he does a live concert, if you go and you Google or check on YouTube for the Outrider concert, you listen to the first couple of numbers he did. The rhythm is bizarre, the tones are bizarre, and it's kind of, that's where he is acclimating you into his world of his occult. It's very strange. All right. Now, that's for music appreciation campers. Now, Kennedy webinar with Reiner Fuellmich. Today is the 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone. And this was yesterday, and I signed up for it in the morning. And because I signed up for the Defender, which I recommend all of you do, because he's getting 5 million page views a month. They have severely censored him. Now, the beginning of this, they kind of screw it up, so there's like a 5 or 8 minute delay before it starts. So just, scroll along. But when it starts, Bobby does an opening statement talking about the situation we are in, how our rights are being eviscerated, how the fundamental rights are being destroyed, from freedom of speech to search and seizure, to right to counsel, to due process. I mean, they closed the courts. And he is talking about the authoritarian takeover by using COVID and pandemics in general. If you've seen his speech in Berlin, it was very powerful. And he said, authoritarians love pandemics. Well, listen, this is an enormously eloquent presentation he does. It's only 5 or 8 minutes long once the thing starts. Then right after that, his first guest is our friend Reiner Fuellmich, the attorney out of Berlin, who discusses interesting things. So after you're done with Bobby and Reiner, the other people that come on, and the purpose of the webinar was to announce that they are translating their, we'll call it an e-paper, the digital email paper, if you want to call it. It doesn't make sense. The newsletter, the page, the information distribution into 5 languages. I think they've got it in English, Spanish, French, Italian, and German. I think he said Dutch. They don't have it in Dutch yet, but they can listen in German. But this is important, and they explain why. Because there are millions of people, and it really is as they say in Britain, a capital idea. So this is great stuff. That's right after our music link. The next one, I don't know if I'll do it, but in this order, but I'm going to go with T-Rex. Okay. Tiborosaurus Rex, who we haven't heard from. And I was speaking with our engineering department the other day saying, what the hell is he up to? So I pulled it, and let me adjust this. Hang on. All right. This is very strange because I guess the full frame is there, but what I'm seeing is I guess the frame inside of a frame. So it's very small. He's talking about you don't ask permission. It's a short video, 3 minutes long. And he makes the point of Jim Jordan. Everybody thinks Jim Jordan is great. And you remember when Jim Jordan did his little interrogation of Fauci? And Rex is making fun of Fauci. And Jordan is there wearing his mask, asking questions of Fauci. And what happens? When will we be free? He's asking the bureaucrat, authoritarian agent for the evil ones. When will we be free? Do we have permission to be free yet? Think about that. Removing the mask and be free. It's an interesting concept. So T-Rex is there, short and sweet. The next link is the Children's Health Defense, the Defender. This is where you can sign up, and you should, and share this. The information they smash out every day is, and Bobby points it out, he says it's fact-checked, it's verified. They go through this carefully because they have been accused by YouTube and the so-called fact checkers of spreading misinformation and incorrect information. And I believe he's suing, is it Facebook or YouTube or both, for putting warnings on misinformation, and in particular of some of the doctors that work with his organization. This is a great little article, how the NIH is being sued, I'm reading here, for FOIA violations for funding gain-of-function research. Hello. So the NIH didn't produce the documents and the information under a FOIA request as to gain-of-function research funding. Well, now, isn't that curious? Now, who brought the action? It was another government agency. Now, this is good that they picked this up. Have you heard about that before? No. FJ brings it to you through the Defender. It's worth reading. All right. Now, I hope we haven't forgotten our friend Amazing Polly. Was another one, just how I had to go look for T-Rex. I had to go look for Amazing Polly. Don't forget, they slammed 2 channels of mine. All of them had subscriptions to them of the people I watch. So I had created my own little algorithm where I got incredible information from across the board. Left, right, center, science, woo, whatever, and plenty of music. Well, let's grab Polly's channel here. Polly does a thing on Science Journals Exposed. I don't know if that's her title or mine. This, once again, campers, is amazing. She has a clip of an interview from a pretty powerful lawyer out of LA. I think Century City, the old big Century City law firms out there. I used to live out there. I went to law school out there. And Century City is funny. They got like these high towers filled with offices, right? And he did an interview, and she pulls a clip and then puts the link to this guy's interview. I haven't watched his whole interview. It was late when I watched this. So this is great stuff. The bottom line is this witness attorney is saying the impact and the influence of the pharmaceutical industry is how politicized these magazines are, that they are not really science journals. And the concept of peer reviewed means it's approved by the journals that are controlled by the industry. So it isn't science. It isn't a journal where people are putting it out. And I couldn't help but thinking, well, what about law review articles? Well, law review articles aren't controlled. There's 100, 200, 1,000 different law schools, and each one has its law review. And they publish law review articles. So if you were to write a law review article, you could submit it to Harvard. They may not publish it. You could put it to Yale. You could send it out to a lot of different schools. Somebody will publish it, assuming that it is validated. It's got footnotes, it's got proper citations, and it doesn't violate Rule 8 of the federal rules getting your case dismissed, meaning clear and concise statements. Oh, I'm sorry. I had to throw that in. That's Tom Renz. By the way, Tom was on that interview with Reiner a week ago. And if you haven't watched that, that was a long interview. Just jump in, move in an hour, because that's the part I saw. It was outstanding with the Israeli attorneys. They were two together. They were great. And then the third guy came on. He had been on before. I'm not so thrilled with him, although he does make excellent points, and they're all working together. So there you go. At the end, Tom comes on. And the first thing he is saying is, some of these lawyers are here to undermine us. Well, I hope he wasn't talking about me. And then he says, because people are arguing about constitutional principles, but they don't want to argue about facts. Hey, I have a silly question for you campers who've been paying attention. Who was screaming about having an evidentiary hearing a year ago regarding the masks? That was yours truly, wasn't it? I picked up the phone and I spoke to counsel down in West Palm, who was bringing the action against the county commissioners to stop their mask mandate. This was last June. And I said, hey, you have to have an evidentiary hearing. Make them prove that their law is not overbroad, because it doesn't specify the degree of filtration that their little masks have to have. Number one. Number two, it doesn't reflect the negative impact of the mask. That's called factual. That's called evidence. Let's go with OSHA guidelines. You can't reduce oxygen below a certain level. You can't increase CO2 above a certain level, okay? Evidence. And how do you establish, excuse me, how do you establish what that is? With facts. You run tests. You say, here's the amount of oxygen that you get with the mask. Here's the amount of CO2 you get with the mask. You measure it, you test it, you present it. You have a hearing. And I don't care if it's a 4 or 5 day thing, that's a full-blown trial. Now you have facts in evidence. Got it? And when you write a complaint, short, concise, coherent statements, not 556 pages of an addendum that's vomit all over the court, who can't make heads or tails out of it, and then say, oh, the court does an order to show cause against me to dismiss my case. I should show cause why my complaint shouldn't be dismissed. That's almost unheard of. So I guess the court is saying, look, I'm not reading through your crap. You break it down into manageable, coherent statements and lay out your claim. Otherwise, boom, that's Rule 8. Rule 12 says it fails to state a claim upon which relief can be granted, a different spin. The other one says this is incoherent gibberish. The other one says it's coherent, but it fails to state a claim, okay? Sorry, campers, just a brief little tirade. And one other thing, I was speaking with the engineering department. So now that DeSantis has removed the masks and said no enforceability, the enforcement of the masks and any restrictions like that are banned pending the effect of the law and the withdrawal of the emergency, which occurs on July 1. Okay, but private businesses can do it. All right, listen and think. This was brilliant. He must have been listening. I said, man, I must be rubbing off on you. He says, yeah, what about a class action at that point by the employees of supermarkets, Walmarts, and Target, the big box stores that are being forced to wear masks by their employers, creating an unsafe work environment? Of course, after an evidentiary hearing presenting the facts that show the reduction of oxygen and the increase in CO2 exceeding guidelines in both directions. Not enough O2, too much CO2, making it an unsafe work environment by OSHA guidelines. You think that might be a vicious smash to those brilliant employers who are mandating the abuse of their employees? You decide. Okay, so we left off. Okay, off the soapbox. Back to the tripod. So the CHD, the Children's Health Defense Defender, NIH is sued. The next is Polly. Now, right after Polly, and I don't know about the sequence, I'll leave it because I'm mentioning it here. We've got Mike Adams interviewing Dr. Lee Merritt. I was waiting for this. I listened to it this morning. This is Wednesday, May 5th. Cinco de Mayo. Wait, we said that. Pardon the shaking. It's movement. We are alive. Okay, so the bottom line is, this is a good interview. It's not her best. I personally love the two interviews she did with Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. The first one, just her and Tenpenny. The second one was with the 5 doctors. Different content, different spin. The evolution of her thought process is outstanding. This one, she talks with Mike. And what I'm bringing to you, and this fits in, this method to my madness, work with me, people, is that it's a psychological operation, right? Now, as I mentioned, let's review. I had posted the Academy of Ideas, Creating Mass Psychosis, right? This is how authoritarians take over. How do they do it? I'm reposting that. And it says, repost. And then I've got number 5. There it is. Number 6 is Sefer. Number 7 is Jordan Peterson on Logos and Truth. But coming back to Dr. Merritt and Mike Adams, she says this is a psychological operation. And she goes through a lot of the stuff she's covered before, a little bit disjointed, but the confusion function is essential. And this is why we have Fauci, mask on, mask off. Get the shot, wear the mask, okay? Don't wear the mask. Stay in public, stay away, blah, 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 blah. Whipsawing. What's the name of this disease? Amazing Polly pointed this out last year. Notice how there's 5 different names for this. You got the disease, you got the virus, blah, blah, blah. Okay, confusion. Well, today's newspaper, May 5th, the cover of our brilliant Palm Beach Post says, DeSantis's order creates more confusion. No, his order does not create confusion. The bullshit media is creating confusion. Why? This proves, in my view, that the agency is running this, and they are running a psychological operation, talking to their media as authorized by their covert game called Mockingbird, but now legalized with Smith-Mundt modernization, right? So keep spinning that confusion. So now they say DeSantis's order creates confusion. How do they figure that? The restrictions are banned pending the removal of the emergency order. He's rescinding his emergency order that has authorized these idiots to do their thing. And that there's a ban in place pending that event. What are we confused about? Oh, but if I tell you you're confused, then you're going to say, wait, did I understand that? Yeah, you decide. But the point is, the confusion ties into the psychological operation or the warfare. And that is part of the next link, the repost, which you need to listen to. I was just going to put this up again because I don't want to give you too much material. Now you might have to go back and read and listen to the one about the Ice Age farmer, right? And don't forget, Shannon and I discussed the concept of wastewater surveillance. So they got you coming and going, right? Eat the food, track it, and then waste material gets tracked to see what's there. They're saying they're looking for coronavirus. We're saying they're looking for the PEG, the polyethylene glycol, which is the synthetic lipid which wraps the mRNA in it. Now, a brilliant point made by Mike, not in this particular interview, but in his Health Ranger report. And by the way, if you don't listen to that, it's worth listening to. I'm still not quite sure what, the full deal is with him. But I got to tell you, he does pop a couple of excellent, insightful points on every episode. And he made the point, he says, do you remember when the Democrats were saying, well, we're not going to get the vaccine because Trump rushed it? Now they're pushing the vaccine. Okay, what changed? It's the same vaccine. So is that a political agenda? Unbelievable. Next, so now they're using a vaccine for a political agenda. Were they interested in their health then? Were they interested in their health now? Have they taken the vaccines? Or did those little needles that get put in and not pulled out, but put in and pulled down away? What are they doing? Breaking those needles off? We've seen the videos, haven't we? Yeah, hang on. This went out. Once again, this was going to be a short video. I did like what, 2 yesterday or 2 the day before? I'm on a roll. And the material I'm sharing with you is powerful. Like, share, subscribe here, and you got to put this stuff out to people. Let them see it. Problem is, it's being blocked. So Facebook's blocking you, if YouTube's blocking you, you got BitChute, if you got an email list, send it out. Tell friends to share it, all right? It's important. So Mike makes the other point in there. Thought I lost my beat, I didn't. Blues Jam. What he says is, now you got the lefties and the progressives in the past. They were saying, we don't want GMO foods. We want natural and organic stuff. We don't want our bodies to be the experiment on GMO foods and tomatoes and soybeans, right? Big pitch. But now they're pro mRNA vaccines that are untested, which is complete genetic tinkering. What kind of nonsensical, inconsistent statement is this? I thought that was a brilliant point. Share it, campers. Argument for the masses. And don't forget, I haven't been wearing my bandana, even as my virtue signaling. I still have it in my pocket. I'm going to have to put it on. I keep it in there for a couple of days. I wear it here. I throw it in the wash. I have about 3 of those black ones. I have multicolored ones. Let me shift here. See, it's good when you have the bandana. It's virtue signaling. And anybody says anything, yeah, I'm taking a break, man. I need to breathe. You don't mind, do you? Would you like some saran wrap with those French fries? Would you like some saran wrap with that mask? Keep it on tighter. Mm-hmm. All right, next, we're going to the Academy of Ideas, which is creating mass psychosis. This one needs to be listened to separately. It is a brilliant analysis, post-World War II, post-Soviet, and they're going through the techniques used to control and manipulate the masses. Then we have Sefer, the 1492 private pirates. Now, what is a pirate? A pirate is a thief who will steal your property under threat, under physical attack. Who are these people, Harry? It is just a genetic thing. Lie, cheat, steal, swindle. But they're pirates. Some good music about pirates. Curious how that works. Take a look. Repost, Jordan Peterson. Logos, right? Powerful. Now, I'm going to throw these in. Feinstein, or is it Feinstein? Feinstein? Yeah. Her staffer, this is from the Epoch Times, funded Steele. Now, that's Christopher Steele, not Robert David Steele, and I think they spell it differently, and Fusion GPS for the fake dossier. So the title says the billionaire-backed operative kept funding Steele and Fusion GPS in 2019, even after dossier credibility. Now, my question is, if this guy is a staffer, is he the millionaire or the billionaire? Or is he backed by them using NGOs, non-governmental organizations, or charitable contributions? The question is, does he get looked at for influencing an election? Let's think about that. Through his activities, by promulgating lies, known false information, is that an attempt to mislead the public? Is, especially as a staffer for a senator, and then say, wait a minute, was it an ex-staffer? Well, we'll have to check. Can't believe it was on the staff running this operation. But think about that. So if they're intentionally introducing lies to influence the election through mass media, is that a punishable offense? Is that constitute election fraud? And what about the monies that were being used to do this? Does that become an investment under the Federal Election Commission? Is that a campaign contribution, an in-kind investment, an in-kind contribution? I think it does. So where's our Justice Department? Where's Barr? Where's this other fool? Oh, wait, this fool's not going to go for him because it's politically expedient not to. Look, we've got big problems here, but you know that. So enough of the information consumption. Next was an article that Shannon sent me. This is under there. It's on spike protein. This is fascinating. This is from Salk, Jonas Salk, the polio vaccine inventor or developer. His I guess his foundation or his lab or his institution. They're talking about the spike protein being the damaging element of the this coronavirus. However, reading through there, it says this was done by computer model. So does this once again establish we have not isolated this coronavirus and the spike protein on a computer model, and therefore that causes damage? And they're saying this is a pulmonary thing, right? Was it? Blood. It's blood. And this damages the arteries, the spike protein. And there was an article which I didn't put up yet. I'll do it later, I suppose, talking about the new cure that they're running in Canada, and they made application, not here. And what this does is increase nitric oxide, not nitrous, nitric oxide, which is a gas your body produces. And what it does is adds flexibility and what's the word we want to say? We'll call it flexibility of veins, articles, and veins, arteries, and tendons, and keeps them supple and soft, and increases development of the, I wanted to say the ethereal lining, okay, in the blood vessel, okay? But the nitric oxide can be found in foods, in beets, it can be found in cucumbers, aids that. There's other supplements. Arginine alpha-ketoglutarate is great for the gym, increases blood flow, increases nitric oxide, and helps your veins and arteries. So a simple thing like this may be the cure to stopping the damage of your veins and arteries. Okay? Next link is the FJ Campground channel. Please check it. Subscribe, right? The next link is the website and the email list. Please find the email list. Now, that's the front page. There's a little subscribe. Hit that, and it'll switch you over to the fill-in first name and email. Boom, you're good to go. Now, last thing I've got to do is get on the computer, talk to them at Constant Contact, and get that working so it's not a brutal process to try and do. Then, of course, the Brighteon channel, which you're probably watching this on, but if you're not, click that link. Of course, the Patreon account, and I urge you to join Patreon to help support the channel from 12,000 people to a couple of hundred who've taken a hit in the revenue big time, but that was their plan, wasn't it? And of course, direct contributions and support of the channel through PayPal is greatly appreciated. Now, these are great links today. I want you to look at them. I want you to comment. Tell me what you think. And then we have the other issue. There's a couple. First, how do we, as a mass of a mindless floating amoeba, move forward? Well, we can't unless there's proper communications and leadership. But they've done a great job interrupting the comms, haven't they? Because we know everything they say, don't we? And who's we and who's they? They just reversed that, didn't they, Q-tards? They did. Because nothing can stop what's coming. The storm is upon us. Just saying. There's another point that I wanted to hit. We talked about Gates and his insanity yesterday. Let me think for a minute before we close up. I don't know. When I think of it, I'll bring it back. All right, campers, I appreciate the support. I thank the patrons. I thank the contributors. And shout out to Ming, who sent me a little donation, and I appreciate that. And I said, and he said, listen, your links have been amazing the last few days. And he said, and good comment on DeSantis. He said, let's just hope my people, meaning over in Singapore, are as awake as we. I think they're targeting the U.S. And Dr. Merritt, Lee Merritt, MD, ex-military, married to high-ranking military officials, Marine Corps, thinks that this is a takedown in process. And Biden is aiding and abetting. And let me just ask one other thing. Those idiot attorneys general, and Bobby Kennedy talks about this. That's huge. If you can only watch one, watch that. It's only the 10 minutes with him and Reiner. And understand, as he eloquently expresses it, and accurately, the effect this horseshit has been having on us, that our elected representatives, who in my view are fiduciaries and must be holding their duty to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution above their own interests. They're representing us. They're protecting that Constitution for us. This needs to be explained to them, but yet you call, you can't get through, you got voicemail that's full, so they've become unavailable, while the Capitol is fenced off, walled off, and guarded as Biden buffoons around wearing his mask. What's good about this? There's got to be something good about it, that it brings to our attention how overt their actions are. Thank you, campers. On that note, I'm going to let you go. If you like it, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll be back at you later. Thank you. Bye for now.